Hey everyone, good evening. It's Russ Nesovich with Nesovich Law, just coming at you with today's estate planning tip of the day, I guess. So I wanted to talk a little bit about today about something called the step up in basis. So a step up in basis is something that a lot of people often don't understand, but is really, really important when you're dealing with estate planning and particularly inheritance issues. So when you inherit an asset that has some value, for example, if you inherit a home, if you inherit a securities portfolio, if you inherit some art, generally those assets are worth more at the time that you inherit them than they may have been when the deceased individual purchased them. So for example, let's say that your parents bought a home in the 70s or 80s and they paid a couple of $100,000 and now that home is worth $1 million. Well, when you inherit that home, currently you get what is called a step up in basis, meaning when you sell that home, your capital gains liability is much lower. So when you inherit that home, if you inherit it and it's worth $1 million at the time that you inherit it, and you go to sell it and you sell it for $1 million, you have no capital gains liability. Whereas if your parents had sold it, they'd have capital gains on that $900,000 or $800,000 in growth. That's true for securities. It's true for art, collectibles, really anything that you inherit that has appreciated in value dramatically while the person owned it. When you inherit it, you get a step up in basis. It's a really good estate planning tool. And when people are thinking about late in their life, potentially selling things, having a capital gains tax, they may want to hold on to those things so that when the people who they are leaving assets to inherit them, they have less capital gains liability. It basically makes the capital gains liability go poof, just makes it go away. So it's an important concept to understand when talking about estate planning, but it's also something important to be aware of now and in the future. And here's why. One of the major stories that was overlooked last week, and I'm not going to get political one way or another, but we're just going to talk in facts. One of the major stories that was overlooked on January 6th, because we were so busy talking about people storming the Capitol and the riots that happened at the Capitol building. One of the overlooked stories is the Democrats won both of Georgia's Senate seats. And that gave the Democrats a majority in the Senate. So now the Democrats will hold not only the presidency, but also the House and also the Senate, which means that you might see some changes in the tax laws and in estate planning laws. And one of the changes that has been floated by the Biden administration as part of their tax plan is the elimination of the step up in basis. So now when you inherit assets, you will inherit them along with the basis. So now you have that home that your parents paid $200,000 for back in the 80s that you inherit now that's worth $1 million. You thought that $800,000 capital gain liability was going to potentially go away. If we have a tax plan with some of those changes and you lose that step up in basis, you will inherit that asset. And when you sell it, that $800,000 of capital gains liability or that gain that will now be taxable will potentially be there and not go poof and not magically go away. So it's just something to be aware of as you're thinking about sort of planning and taxes and your estate plan, your will, how you inherit assets, how you leave assets. All of these things are factors that we talk to people about when we do estate planning. If you have any questions about that, please let us know. Please give us a call, 856-439-6223, or leave us a comment so that we can address your follow-up question in one of our future videos. Thanks so much. We appreciate you joining us. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.